Orange Shirt Day, ASD-S 2020. Today we're going to learn about the First Nations people and their culture. Orange Shirt Day is about truth and reconciliation. Today we are going to learn about something in our country's history. We will acknowledge that it happened and think about ways that will lead us in walking together towards reconciliation. That means we understand First Nations people for who they are, respect the culture, and try to make things better in all of Canada. Hi, Izzy.
Hi, Leah. Can I help you?
Sure.
In this video assembly, you will see Mr. Shea speak about the importance of language. Dylan will show us the Mi'kmaq honor song. Then we will have a special guest who read an Orange Shirt Day book for us.
Grampy K!
Then the three of us will describe the Orange Shirt Day activity for you. Have fun, and today we are practicing empathy, understanding how someone else feels.
I'd like to read something to help kick off the start of our virtual assembly for Orange Shirt Day, where we really try to remember that every child matters. All children are important, all over the world. So to begin, I'd like to acknowledge that the land on which we gather at Lakefield Elementary School is the traditional unceded territory of the Wolastoqey and Mi'kmaq peoples. This territory is covered in the treaties of peace and friendship, which Wolastoqey and Mi'kmaq peoples first signed with the British Crown way a long time ago, back in 1725. The treaties did not deal with the surrender of lands and resources, but in fact recognized Mi'kmaq and Wolastoqey titles and established the rules for which was going to be an ongoing relationship between nations. And when we think about truth and reconciliation and moving forward with a strong appreciation of our First Nation, the cultures of our First Nations peoples, especially here in New Brunswick, it's that relationship part that's so important. Recently, we've been talking at the school about the word empathy. And we'll see if a couple of people can remember. Empathy means understanding how other people feel. Empathy means understanding how other people feel. And that is a big part of Orange Shirt Day. When you watch the video that describes how Orange Shirt Day got started, really just by one woman, by the efforts of one woman, you'll start to feel what those students would have felt when our First Nations children, a long time ago, were put into residential schools and had to grow up apart from their families and apart from their parents. So that's part of having empathy, understanding how they might have felt. The other thing that we could think about is learning a little bit more about their culture. And we're going to hear in this presentation about the idea of sharing culture through music and sharing culture through language. And the book that our special guest is going to read for you is all about language and words and sharing culture through language and how important it is to preserve language. So the more music you hear and you can sing from places all around the world, the better. And the more languages that you know and that you can greet people with and use when you talk to people, the better. So today we're going to put the spotlight, shine an extra focus on our First Nations peoples here in New Brunswick. And there are a few different activities that go along with our virtual assembly that will help you guys practice and help you think about that. So enjoy our presentation, and thanks very much everybody for being part of Orange Shirt Day. Thank you.
Music and dance is an important part of First Nations culture. Just imagine what it would be like to not be able to sing your favorite song in school or in the community. We are all going to listen to the Honor Song by Mi'kmaq songwriter George Paul. Thanks to George Paul, who worked to revive traditional songs and gatherings in the Maritimes, the honor song has become the national anthem of the Mi'kmaq and is now being used to teach elementary school students about Mi'kmaq culture and traditions. We're very lucky to have Grampy K reading us this book today. It's called Stolen Words, and it's about a man's experience in a residential school.
Hello, boys and girls. Here I am. Missed you, but this is a very special day because of stolen words. So, let's get into the story. You follow the pictures as I read. She came home from school one day, skipping and dancing and humming a song under her breath, clutching a dream catcher she had made from odds and ends, bits of string, plastic beads, and brightly colored feathers. Her glossy braids danced against her shoulders, swaying with her, black as a raven's wing. "Grandpa," she asked, touching his hand, spinning under his arm before dropping it again. "How do you say grandfather in Cree?" He stopped breathing for a moment, and a lifetime to a 7-year-old. He looked down on her sadly. "I don't remember," he answered. "I lost my words a long time ago." A frown clouded her face. Well, how do you lose words, Grandpa?" she asked. "They took them away," he answered. She thought for a moment. "Well, where did they take them?" she asked. "Where they took all of us," he said, "away from home and away from laughter and soft words, away from our mothers who cried for us." She reached out for his gnarled hand, and who took you away, Grandpa?" she asked quietly. "Men and women, dressed in black, talking to us with words we did not know," he answered. "They reached home, and the two of them sat on the stairs together." "Where did they take you, Grandpa?" she asked. "Away to a school that was cold and lonely, where angry white faces raised their voices and their hands. And when we used our words," he answered. "Oh, they took our words. And they locked them away and punished until we forgot them, until we sounded like them. Harsh, sharp words, so different from the sound of our beautiful ones." She touched his weathered face. She tried to wipe the sadness away with her soft hands. She looked down at her lap and handed him the dream catcher that she had made for her room. "You take this, Grandpa," she said. "Maybe it'll help you find the words again." He smiled at her, his granddaughter, and touched her innocent face, a face that had never known hard words or raised hands. He smiled and kissed her head. The next day, she skipped out of school again, smiling widely at her grandfather, and she stopped in front of him and took a deep breath. "Namosa," she said. His eyes widened. She smiled brighter than the sun. "I found your words, Grandpa," she said, and she pulled a tattered, well-worn paper back. out of her book bag an introduction to Cree. Oh, so, my teacher helped me find this for you at the library. He reached for it and his hand shaking, and he opened it, feeling the soft, much loved pages under his fingers. "No, sisson," he whispered. "Granddaughter." The word felt familiar through his mouth. He felt like his home, his mother. He turned the pages of the book very carefully. Lesson Aiken book. He turned another. Word after word. Professor 1 series for words. Pages and pages of them. Oh, he looked at his granddaughter, his Narcissus. "Thank you, Tinka. Thank you," he said. "Will you read to me?" she said, taking his hand in hers and leading him home. "Will you teach me your words?" His heart danced as he nodded, holding the book against his chest.
In the story, what things were very important to the grandfather and his granddaughter? You can pause the video to share with your class if you want to. The grandfather was sad because he lost his words, his language, while at a residential school. There are some things in life that we cherish, things that are super important to us and which we want to keep in our lives. The characters in the book are cherishing language. Try to think about things you really love having in your lives. Which things are important to remember and to hold on to? What do you really love having in your life? One way to use this reflection sheet is to draw or write what you think Aboriginal people might cherish. Is there anything they might have lost when they went to residential schools? Every class can make a display by using the sheets in the hallway.
Another way to use the reflection sheet is to draw or write things that you cherish or love having in your life. Then think about how lucky you are to have those good things in your life. Good things are worth celebrating and remembering. Your teacher will help the class decide how to use the orange sheet.